Parrot TV, the voice for humanity.
Hi, welcome to the New York Parrot Literary Corner. I am Dustin Pickering, your host. Today we have Igor Ursenco, who is an award-winning author of 11 published books, poetry, prose, essays, and screenplays, a polyglot translator and pedagogue with a PhD in intertextuality in poetry. Since his teen poetry debut, Logos, My Father, My Mother, Imago, Igor has adopted a genuine culturological approach he proposed to be followed up as Ego Bestiar. The distinct celebration of the integrative archetypal hilarity engaged him as a catalyst of the refreshing Theo A. Retiakon movement in poetry, fiction, essays, research, and screenplay drama manifestation. After moving for a period of earthy, watery, and fiery years in Spain, Ireland, and Romania, Igor decided that it is the right time to get an airy period in his life, currently residing in Cambridge, UK. He sporadically publishes in literature magazines, culture portals, and e-zines from Romania, Germany, Ireland, Spain, Canada, and USA. Thanks for joining us today, Igor. How are you doing?
Thank you for inviting me, Dustin. I'm okay. Thank you very much. Very excited to join you.
Yes, we're glad to have you. So, have you ever noticed, like, you've pretty much traveled the world quite a bit. Have you noticed any differences in attitudes towards literature in different cultures?
I have to say that I had like opportunity to watch a few of your interviews, and like all your invitees, they're coming from different cultures. Yeah, Alexander, a lot of countries, and I think all that unites us is the um, um, the tool to connect between humans. This is the most important for me, I
Right.
guess.
So it's like poetry and literature. It's a binding influence on people, and you don't see that there are people that they tend. I think you're right. They tend to agree. We all tend to agree that this is like a universal language of sorts. So there is no like differing attitudes really, but you don't see that people maybe approach it differently, like in terms of how to write it or uh, you know in general, like theoretically how to approach literature.
Yeah, absolutely. You're right. So, like beyond the language barriers or psychological barriers, poetry is like a primordial languages, I would say.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So you have I believe 11 books you've published. So what is the secret to being so prolific?
I wouldn't say I'm so prolific. So I'm 50 already.
Wow, that's still
So
quite a few
yeah,
books and quite a lot of
well,
it's a
yeah,
lot of work.
and yeah, it's true. My background is a teaching literature, especially, and languages. So my books are not limited to the poetry only, but as you said before, I have essays, um, short prose, and even uh, movie scripts. Let's say movie scripts. Yeah. So
So have any of the scripts been produced?
not yet, unfortunately. I'm waiting for my producer yet. So
Oh, so you're
hopefully one day
so it's not
I will
quite.
materialize.
Are they and are you getting them produced, or are they in process right now?
No. The thing that they are written in Romanian, so this is like a quite a barrier. So, but hopefully,
Mhm.
I'm going to translate them into English. So, one day I will be able to see them on the screen, on the big screen.
Excellent. I hope that happens. I'd love to see that
Hopefully,
happen.
thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So what exactly is the movement I mentioned in your bio? Theo E. Reta Icon. What is that?
Right. So back in 2000, I had like while I was in Madrid, Somebody spotted me on the streets on Madrid and proposed me to go into a movie, American, British, Spanish movie, starring Jeff Goldblum and Greta Scacchi. So it was amazing. Yeah. The truth is, I had like only 3 days at my disposal, so it's not. I mean, was around the stars, cinema stars. So, but it was an amazing experience for me.
That was part
movie,
of the.
Yeah, the movie.
That was part of that movement.
Movie. It's one of the Hollywood 10, 2000. So.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. I was so young. Yeah, like more than 20 years already. So.
What was that film about? I don't think I'm familiar with it.
One of the Hollywood 10. When you have the opportunity, you can find about it. It's a very like uneasy movie, to be honest. It's a political movie, so I think it's quite interesting to see. It's not like a Hollywood movie, just Hollywood pattern, but it's quite dramatic one. So.
I have to check that out. And it's in English, right?
In English, absolutely, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So my next question would be, what exactly is intertextuality in poetry? What process goes behind that?
As you may be aware of, intertextuality is about a mirror game. So everybody said something before you as an author. You reflect and double this and come with your thoughts as well. So in other words, you have to be very well informed about the work has been done before you as an author, and take your attitude. He's a postmodernism, let's say, yeah. As Umberto Eco says, is like we're saying what it has been said before, but in different attitude.
It's sort of like a comparative study.
Yeah, kind of. Yes. Yeah.
Interesting. Do you find any, like, again, we go back to the idea of differences of approaches to literature? Do you find over the history of literary output, there's differences during different time periods? Or
absolutely, yeah. In fact, you can say this about references. You found in the body work of the authors, but you have to know about this, otherwise it can pass like without know them. You cannot notice and observe them, so this is useless if you're not up to date, let's say, up to date to the literary process.
Interesting. So it's sort of like, comparing, the different worldviews and cultural contexts. So you have to probably have a knowledge of history as well, of the time periods that each of these authors lived in.
Yeah, absolutely. I can tell you. I mean, while I was doing my research, I found I discovered in fact a very original poet, British poet, Andrew Marvell,
yes,
from 17th century. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Andrew Marvell from 17th century. He was. It was for me a huge discovery, because I started to think that it has like it was like it was me, but before, like a few hundred years before me. So I've tried to translate a few of his poems into Romanian and Russian. And if you don't mind, I can read you yeah, is okay?
Yeah,
to
sure,
read,
go ahead.
Yeah,
sure.
A small excerpt from his work and my translations. Yeah. Andrew Marvell, The Definition of Love. Therefore the love which is doth bind, but fate so enviously debars, is the conjunction of mind and opposition of stars. Romanian version. Iubire, tu ce în lanț ne faci verigi, ursitei opunându-te aprigi, conjuncția sufletelor noastre ești și opoziția corpurilor cerești. And now the Russian version. Определение любви. Любовь не та, что рок не разлучил, ни разу он не затемнит, соединение душей, как двух светил, и расхождение орбит. So this is I cannot say is like literally intertextuality, but in my soul, in my soul, it gives me like a flash, a very high flash of already seen, already lived already. So
I totally relate to that. Sometimes you run across poets or writers that you really just connect with, like this is something that I would want to be a part of if I was there.
Absolutely. So even I didn't meet him, I didn't know about him, but basically us, we are living like on parallel universes, So,
right, crossing stars,
absolutely, absolutely, yeah. The same feeling, the same thoughts. So yeah, here you are.
Absolutely, it's a very unique experience. That's part of what's great about being an artist, when you run across people like that, and the history of literature, and you just mind-blowing, like, wow, I could have been this person, I could have this, I very relate strongly to this. It just speaks to me in a way that nothing else does. It's very profound.
Absolutely, yeah. Let's speak about you have like an example of Nabokov, of Vladimir Nabokov, or say he used to live in Russia, as you say, so everything is related to Russia, but when he went to America, something clicked, something happened to him. So basically it was like his mind, it was like a intertextual mind, I could say. So everything he started to write directly into English. He should like choose like from Russia, from his Russian cultural pattern, let's say. So this is how it works, basically. I think this is
very interesting. Yeah, I'm not familiar with him, but it's interesting that you say, when he moved to America, it was like it clicked to him. Like, he just felt comfortable in the environment, and it just sort of like it radically altered his writing in that sense. Have you ever had one of those moments yourself, like other than with Andrew Marvell? Have you ever run across, like, when you go to a different culture or a different place, or read other writers that you just, it clicks, that you, this makes sense to me, other than, even though it's kind of foreign to you at the time?
Yeah, absolutely. I have to say, and you personally know about, every time you're reading author, you feel like you intersect with him. You cross mind with him every time. It doesn't matter. Even this author is from your culture, but especially if he's quite different. This means is like a fate. So basically, for me, any book is like is a meeting with a person. For me, is everything is alive.
Right, absolutely. It's that's part of the beauty of books, is it's traveling into someone's mind at a different time period, and I think that's definitely a good observation. So I'm curious how your knowledge of other languages inspires your own poetry and writing.
I consider myself a multilingual, so normally I'm reading straight into Romanian, English, Russian, Spanish. I used to speak before quite 2-3 languages, but I'm starting to forgotten already. But it's okay.
Yes.
Yeah, this is the process. So this is when I went to the festivals, for international festivals, it was so interesting to meet people from another cultures, another environments, let's say. But they could speak with you about their feelings, and this is amazing. If any time you're using another language, they say it depends how many languages do you speak. This means, I mean, if you speak 2 languages, it means you live like 2 lives. So I have to agree with this. And yeah, this is why people are still reading despite of the I don't know, this invasion of online invasion, let's say. Yeah, I I'm like, in this case, I'm still a fan of the book, of the proper book. Yeah, just to touch it, to smell it, and to
Right. Yeah, I feel the same way. It's the internet has revolutionized the way people approach and think of writing and reading. And I think the old time books are much more tangible and interesting to me. And I find it to be, kind of a disappointment that there's so little book reading now. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, absolutely. The good thing is the internet allows people to meet online, as is our
Mhm.
case. So this is amazing, but still, when it's time to share these thoughts, is I think is necessary to do like a proper reading. So I think the humanity is going to be alive as long we will have like libraries. So
Right.
when they are going to disappear, they will be like the end of the humankind. I think so.
Right, because that's the way we transmit knowledge to other cultures and other different time periods is through books. I mean, well, how else would we do it?
Yeah.
The internet is great, like you said, for meeting people and for interacting with people. But when it comes to deeper thoughts and deeper expressions and so forth, you want to try to read books. I mean, there's so much information on the
Absolutely.
internet, but there's no real pursuit of wisdom, so forth, or an understanding of another thing, so much as just picking up random bits of information.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have to say that information, it comes from the Latin forma, which means forms, to inform someone. So basically, shape. It means shape, basically.
Mhm.
So to inform somebody means to give your shape to somebody, to shade your shape upon somebody. So it's very important to resist when you feel that somebody's form, somebody's shape, it's less than yours. You know what I mean? So basically, this is why the good books, particularly good poetry books, they are ageless. They are going to they are as I said before about Andrew Marvell. For me, he's like my contemporary.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. I feel the same way, and they are like young people, even younger than me, the new literary generation, new poets. I feel I lost the contact with them. So yeah, basically, this is how poetry works. I think.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of younger people, they haven't been as educated in literature as previous generations. I've even heard in art schools in America that certain books have not been, are not being taught as they used to be. That people are not hearing of a lot of authors from the past. I don't know if that's universal or if that's going on everywhere. I know, I don't even know if it's true in America. I've just heard it from a few people. So it's very sad to see that and see the book sort of in decline due to the internet. But I used to have a professor friend who said it's not so much the tools that are the problem; it's the way they're used. So I think that's true that internet has its merits, but book is immortal. It guides humanity throughout, and I've been also concerned with the lack of actual reading in people these days. It's a very troubling thing for me too. And so when you discovered Marvel, it's like a amazing revelation in a way. Like you say it's a contemporary. How was your when you first started writing yourself? I mean, how did you feel navigating those circles yourself?
Uh, yeah, I have to say that I've started to write very young. I was in school, schoolboy. I fell in love, probably, is as far I remember. And this, so you discover in your body something special, something like as you say, like a revelation. So sometimes it feels like somebody's pouring upon you. It's pouring some thoughts, some emotions, and there is nothing you can do about this.
Right, I agree. That's exactly how it feels for me too. It's like a light shines on you and says,
Absolutely.
right, you know. So do you have any of your own poetry to share with us?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I can. Yeah. I'm going to read a poem, non curriculum vitae. It's my thirst which concedes there is water. Irrigated, my soul awakes forth. I'm surviving my nights, for I taper this body's worth. I exceed all my fates, a trespasser fighting back, wasted battles on remote. Humblest hero even spotted to shatter this appealing white skull and at blind spot. Who I am, much that I thought, yet I master all my gimmicks as an art of boycott. May I be my own breath, confined by rather things it tells me not. It's quite philosophical, but
Yes, it is. It's beautiful though. I
yeah, but
love how
I think
poetry can convey
yeah,
really deep and intricate ideas and images, and it just says, you know, you can read it and sort of relate to it. It's conveying a very deep emotion and an idea at the same time. And philosophy is pretty dry sometimes.
yeah.
Regular, you know, everyday philosophy can be pretty, because it's full of logic, analytical thought, and so forth. It can be dry, but poetry is very emotive and it can say similar things.
Absolutely. I have to say this poem was written directly into English. So there, like when I started to write, it was my one of the first poems. So even the rhythm of the English verse, it gives me like a different feelings. You know, if I have to write a poem like this in my native language, it could be different. You know, so
Right.
well, the basics could remain the same, but it would be absolutely different. So yeah, so this is a one kind of the intertextuality, but I could say it's like interlinguality. Let's say.
Right. So
So
if you'd like to read another poem, feel free.
um, all right. Uh, as you said, like I have quite a few books, so I'm not going to bother you with all of them. But let me read a few lyrical excerpts, like a small excerpts, yeah, if you don't mind.
Okay. Okay.
The world might be my true-born friend, but both you respond to different names and fates. Already condemned to carry out in my transient body the aesthetical functions and structuring value of the Keshura. Oh, speaking of US, the distance from the New York to California is like the spread of death to the afterlife.
Hmm.
Uh, I doubt I can fully respond to all my utternesses with the only name I have been once given. I could now content myself with breathing pure imagination. Every time I'm serving a meal, I put next to me an extra flatware for Joan of Arc and Holy Inquisition.
Hmm.
Uh, Love always ends up on the imperfection side. To avoid getting out of my books for good, God always wills them to a lesser size. I'm continuing to write books, exclusively sharp. I know I will survive through them and to this capital with promiscuous religion. Well, and the last one.
Mhm.
Poet's body walks familiarly on the surfaces on Saturn and Uranus, as in an ecological academy of Plato that became by 2 millennia wiser. Thank you.
That's very clever. I love that. What inspires those kinds of statements in your writing? I mean, is it like, I mean, what are you thinking when you write?
Yeah, I'm trying to write totally to look like to provide like a total writing, if it's possible, that could combine all the aesthetical tools. So joy, sadness, grief, and so on. So I think a good line it's worth to spend a lot of time and energy to put it on a page. At least you have like a hope that it will last. So
Absolutely, over time, it'd be one of those books that are sitting in libraries, 2,000 years from now, in somewhere where life is totally different from people. They may have flying cars, for instance. Who
yeah.
knows? You know, it's a wonderful experience to come across poetry for the first time. I mean, do you remember when you first? I mean, we talked a little bit about it, but do you remember when you read your first poet and how your life changed from that point?
My first poet, or my first poet.
Yes, yeah. When you read poetry for the first time, when the first poet you came across that you took seriously, that changed your, altered your direction towards poetry.
Yeah, and normally, at least in my country, when you are like in the kindergarten, in the primary school, we're learning a lot of poetry. But as I said, like my personal experience was like a insight. Let's say, I I had to I started to feel something special like beyond me, and like a Plato, like used to like Plato used to say. So I still have to agree that poetry is still a lot of percent of inspiration, not only of hard work, but is about inspiration as well. So poets for me they are special nation, special, no borders, obviously. The thing that we are both now you are chatting, this is like it means that we may belong to the same nation. So
Right, nation
beyond
of poetry.
yeah. Yeah, absolutely, yeah. So the poetry is a tool that unites the people from different backgrounds and cultures and languages, obviously.
Are you familiar with a poet named Joseph Brodsky?
Sorry, I couldn't hear you.
Are you familiar with the poet Joseph Brodsky?
Absolutely, yes, yeah, yeah.
What are your? Have you read him?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. So he was like a Soviet. Formally, he was a Soviet poet, but in fact, he was and remains like a universal poet. So after he had to flee from Russia to United States, the fact it was in fact his. After his persecution of Stalin's persecution, of course, he couldn't do this in Russia. So his huge talent had to spread out only in like a democratic country as US. But his language, I have to say, is a universal one, is a mythical one. So I do feel close to Brodsky, to be honest. Yeah. So, and I'm glad he's still alive in the souls of the poets and on the international forums still. Yeah.
Hey, I've read some of his work, and I just thought it was interesting, and I would ask about him. So we have a remaining 8 or 9 minutes left in the program. So, if you want to say anything to your fellow writers out there, or thank any people that have been influential in your life, in your poetry life, feel free.
In English or in Romanian?
I mean, it's speaking in English, but if there's other poets that are that are influential to you, then feel free either way.
All right. So allow me, please, to read another poem of mine, if it's possible. Yeah, is okay.
Yes, please do.
All right. Samsara blueprint. My world now. Blue eyes, blue wings, and blue moon. Blue pain, blue taxi. And the rest of the eighth path clue. Blue bullets, blue trigger, and everblade blue. Yet I should not forget this thread upon my return. Blue man drinking blue glasses of spleen, blue thunder, blue serotonin stemming the flood. Even blue birth lights once I stood in, and of all things, the never, never blue green. So this is the poem. So I feel it spreads out of the soul of the any human being. I think so. I think this is the feeling. So in fact, poetry for me means to live more lives, not only one, not only the physical one you see, like to touch, but it helps us even to survive our mind that goes beyond our bodies. So this is why I would recommend to everybody to stick to the poetry, and because it's a useful tool for mental health, I would say. And you agree with me in this?
Absolutely. It's
yeah.
very relieving. Would you like to read a poem in your native language?
In another language?
Yes.
In Romanian, you mean? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. This is my last book. It appeared last year.
I love that cover.
Exhaustive in Bucharest. Yeah. Let me. All right. I read in Romanian. De Hermetis et occulta endoscopia. M-ați întrebat prevăzători ce literatura? O pirania închițind cu ochii bulbucați de durere chitul cel mare, supraviețuind de atunci cu eforturi minime primei crime alimentare, ca într-o oncologie a ospitalității. Cărțile mi le-am scris să dănuiască blindate, cazemate în care e de găsit la nevoie anestezice, idei potabile însoțite de o bibliografie extinsă despre intestinele imaculate a lui Moby Dick. I'm just curious if you like any of the words that sounds to you familiar, because I made a reference to Moby Dick, and probably you've heard it. So
yeah, what I like about listening to other poets in other languages read, it's an experience, you know, because I don't necessarily understand what's being said, but I can relate to sort of the feeling that's being conveyed, you know. And when you like go up and down in tone and things like that, it's fun to listen to, and it's really joyful. It's, you know, it's nice, and I think that'd be a good way to teach people other languages is through poetry.
Yeah. In this, so I'm fortunate enough to live between like international students. So in Cambridge now. So basically, I'm speaking every day like at least 2-3 languages on daily basis. So which it makes me very happy. So
right.
Yeah, and I have to say that I've discovered a lot of talented students from around the planet. So this is a huge experience for me as an artist. So yeah. Do you still have some time left? I can read some more.
About 3 minutes.
All right. Yeah. Okay. Fortuna labilis. De o zodie cu mine e cuvântul, dar răspundem la nume și sorți diferite, prin linia despărțitoare a samsarei, la unica amantă ce o împărțim frățește, ea ne vizitează la diferite capete ale morții, vine la mine o bacantă, doar de nodurile nervilor încinși se dezbracă în patul meu karmic. O vreme rămâne dezgolită, în giulgi transparent îmi acoperă ochii, obosiți de la atât albastru al cerului. Vine Lucreția Borgia grațioasă, cu falangile pitite gingaș, în palmele ei tot mai palide.
I like the way that the words flow. You know, you can feel that. Like I can even feel the sensation, like it moving from your tongue. You know, it's interesting how, you know,
Yeah,
listening to the language.
so probably if you don't understand my language, you can feel it. So probably my emotions and my intentions I wanted to say. So which is again which is very amazing, the poetry. So I'm glad I had this opportunity to speak with you, and as I said, keep going, because you are doing a very good job. So I'm just
Well, we're glad to have you. It was a wonderful talk, and I think we learned quite a bit and found a little bit more about poetry and why it's important and where it comes from. We don't know exactly, but well, we know that it's something beautiful and wonderful.
Exactly.
So in the remaining time, we've got about a minute left. If you want to have any message for young writers out there writing right now, trying to find their way out.
Yeah, well, I would say them keep all your insights from your from getting from your mind, from your heart. Keep up. Keep. I mean, don't give up, and go ahead, because all the poetry may keep us alive, or some of us. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Definitely, I think that was what I would say too to young writers is that, you know, it's a very daunting task sometimes to be a writer, and especially in this day and age where books are not as valued as much as they have been in the past. Right now, I think that'll smooth out eventually. I hope it will. But I thank you and I appreciate your time to join us today. Uh, and that's been great talking with you. So thank you very much, and thank you to our viewers. Thank you for speaking to that, listening to our program and talking to us. And if you want to get in touch with us about being on the program, you can reach us at Literary Corner at newyorkparrot.com. And we're looking for donations as well from anybody out there. You can send us a little bit of your extra money at paypal.me/nyparrot. So please feel free to do that. There's no obligation on the show as a guest for donations, but we do look for donations because we need new equipment and so forth. And again, we're doing the 1 million subscriber challenge, and we're trying to reach 1 million subscribers to our YouTube channel. So just go out there and tell people about us and leave comments. We want to hear what you think of what our programming is conveying to you, what you think and feel. Like our videos if you want to do that. And again, thank you to our viewers, and thank you, Igor, for joining us today. It's been a wonderful talk.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So I shall spread out the word about Parrot Literary Corner. Absolutely. So
thank you.